You miscounted the goals.
Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to the Admin and Regulation Committee. It's 6 o'clock, so let's get started. Marie, do we have any apologies?
No apologies have been received, Chair. Thank you.
We've got minutes there from the last three meetings, the minutes from the 23rd of April, 21st of May and 12th of June. If I take them as a group, are we all happy with them?
Agreed, Chair.
Yep, thank you. So thank you for doing that. Moving on to Section 106, Local Government Finance Act 1992. Is there any member affected by that or any declarations to make around that? No, thank you. Then we've got disclosures of interest. Are there any disclosures of interest amongst members?
No, not for these items.
Okay, thank you. Maria, have we got any urgent business?
No, Chair, not received any. Thank you.
Thank you. And then any references from any other committees or other bodies?
No, Chair, we've not received any.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to item 7 and our reports. And we've got Digital Data and Technology OCA report, pages 12 to 44. So if I'll hand over to the officer, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So for those that don't know me, I'm Murray James, the Interim Director for Information Technology, and I have the pleasure to report these present these two reports tonight, both of which are related to each other. And thank you for agreeing to hear these at this meeting. We are on a deadline, which is why we've had to bring them to committee during the pre-election period. So first paper is an organisational change request. So we are members will be aware that we're bringing the Civica IT department in-house, and that in itself is a 2P transfer, so results in an organisational change that needs to come before this committee. But we're also taking the opportunity to expand the technology function within the organisation. So rather than being a pure information technology, we are also bringing elements of digital and data, including the information governance team, together to bring together an enlarged and improved IT function. And the reason for doing that is that we are keen, Luton's rationale for engaging in this agreed mutual separation with Civica was to create a more strategic and innovative technology capability. So by bringing these different functions together into a single department, which covers all aspects of technology, so the classic IT, the digital, which is the website and the online services to residents, data and information governance, we start to create a very joined up approach around technology, which will enable us to be much more joined up. Bringing all of the pieces together, it's a lift and shift of a number of different teams into this one function. As a result of that, we are having to make some line management changes just to make sure it lands in a streamlined function. But the essence of the move is that at this stage we're not changing anyone's roles and responsibilities. They will land doing the jobs they do now, but in a management structure that allows them to work together more effectively. The one important note, there are no redundancies foreseen as part of this organisational change. So everyone lands as they are, but we have been able to expand the function with a number of new posts. And that has been through some slack that has been created through the separation with Civica. So Civica were taking a margin, we were paying some overhead costs to them. Those no longer exist, so we've used that money to create some new posts, along with paying off some residual financial deficits and things like that. So the new posts are covered and are covered by the and the implications signed off by finance indicate that the new structure with these new posts is affordable. The business case itself has been to Scrutiny Finance Review Group and will be going to exec later this month for final sign-off. So the ask here with regards to this, this organisational change is for you to approve it, but subject to exec formally signing off the business case. But as I say, the numbers are all we're making a bigger function out of with the same amount of money that we had essentially. The team itself, there's some detail in the paper in terms of how we're structuring the team. I'm happy to take any specific questions on that, but again, what we're trying to do is to create a very simple organisation where part of it is responsible for the security and compliance of the technology within the organisation. Part of it is responsible for keeping the lights on and making sure that the IT is available when it's needed and that people can access the systems that they need to when they need to. And the other main part of this is about creating a solutioning department that will work alongside our transformation team as part of the corporate transformation and deliver the change and the new technologies that we need to move the organisation forward. That's it in a nutshell. It's, as I say, it's a no redundancy organisational change. We can bring some more people in with the money that we've made available through the insourcing, and it's all due to take effect on the 1st of September, or actually 2nd of September, which is the first working day after the Civica team land back in house. So that's I'm happy to take any questions.
Members, any questions? Yes, Councillor Malik.
Thank you so much for the report, which is very nice. I have a question because it's a new creation of IT team, and are we working with the third parties as well?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch the...
It's a new creation of the new IT team support, it's a new desk. And are we working with the third parties as well?
So, yes, we will continue to work with third parties. So there is as with any technology function, a significant amount of our spend is with third parties, whether that's software licensing, support and maintenance agreements. One good example is that, and this is all contained within the business case, which is going through Finance Review Group and the exec, our data center operations, so where we host all of the equipment that all of our servers, which is just down the road, in a Luton-based operation, but that is outsourced to a third party. So there are still some elements of the picture which are provided by third parties, but what we're doing is we're bringing in-house all of the elements that we need to create a Luton-specific, to bring the expertise, to make it, to give it the Luton flavour, if that's a good way of putting it.
I have a concern regarding, because it's a IT support and we are working with the different third parties, buying different softwares and data. How about the data protection? Do we have any clause and something to protect our data?
Yeah, that's a really important question as we move more, and I'm sure I'm going to try and avoid speaking too technically, but I'm sure members have heard of the cloud and the various systems that we're running in the cloud. And with all of those, we have stringent requirements from a data protection GDPR perspective around what they need to do to qualify to hold our data. As part of this move, one of the significant parts of this organisational change is that we are bringing the information governance team into this new function to sit alongside IT security. So we'll have a very joined-up approach to making sure that any third parties that we're working with, whether they are purely in the technology or whether they're just running services for us. So there are services running, working with third parties who use some of our data to run their to deliver the service to us. All of those things will have a very joined-up view of being able to make sure that they are complying with what we need them to comply with to keep our data safe.
Any more questions?
It's not a question, but rather a comment, and it's just a clarification. It's not a new team, it's an existing team, and we're just moving them in-house. So am I correct in saying that it's not a whole new team, it's basically Civica, the existing team, and it's coming in-house rather than being outsourced?
It's a new team in the sense that the construct of the team is new. So yes, it's Civica coming in-house, but there's also 3 teams coming from elsewhere in the organisation, as well as the existing ICT client team who are retained. So, and the exact teams are identified in the paper. So yeah, it's the same people, but in their same sub teams, but coming together into a new super team.
Thank you. Councillor Mead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm wondering about pensions. People who are already working for Civica, are they in a pension scheme, and will that scheme be transferred over to LBC? Will they join the LBC pension scheme? How is it working out?
So yes, we have all of the data on Civica staff. Now, most of them are currently on a Civica pension scheme. Some of them who used to work for the council and were outsourced to Civica, 12 years ago, whatever that was, they are still in the LGPS scheme, so still in the council pension scheme. That continued right the way through. So we've got a bit of a mixture. What is happening when they transfer back across is that everyone will be enrolled in the LGPS scheme, which is a better scheme than the private sector scheme that they're in at the moment in terms of the benefits that it offers. So that is being applied as a measure to people. Their existing Civica pension, of course, will be frozen. There are options within the LGPS if people so wish to transfer that pension into the local government pension scheme. But of course, we'd caution anyone who's thinking of doing that to seek good advice, good independent advice to guide them properly.
Any further questions? If not, I've got one, and then obviously we can move on to the recommendation. I was going to ask, in terms of what have you done in terms of measuring this new structure and making sure it actually provides a better service than what we're currently getting from Civica? So in the process of setting this structure up and putting in, what have you done, what have you relied on to make sure that we do this big organisational change, we bring the service in-house, but how are we going to ensure that we all get a better service?
One of the things that we're doing, and one of the benefits of having run a service with Civica is that it really does get measured. So there are performance measures in place, and they're fairly standard measures that you would see in any technology organisation. We are continuing to run those through this migration period, and we will continue to run them afterwards. So what we will see based on the performance is, whether we are maintaining the same level, whether we're exceeding the levels that they've been managing to deliver under the contract. But I think part of this is one of the measures that's been missing, and one which we're going to bring back, is customer satisfaction. Because a lot of what we're talking about here is not stuff that you can just measure by seeing how long the server stays up for or how long it takes to fix something. The success of this new function will be down to how the people who receive the service at the other end feel about it. So where we've delivered a project, have we delivered that well? Have we delivered the stuff that people expected to be delivered? When we are doing a service desk ticket, are we doing it with a smile and in a way that people feel they've had a good service? Those are things that are traditionally quite difficult to measure, and that goes for any service in the council. And I think that's where we're going to start to make a more concerted effort to capture that customer satisfaction against the various work that we do. But there are also some other things that we are looking to measure. So, in terms of the number of projects that we have going, remember what we're trying to do here, it's not just about the quality of the operational service, it's about can we do more? Are we delivering a better and more innovative technology service? Are we delivering a service that stands up against what other local authorities are doing? So we will be looking at a lot of that stuff that we're not measuring now and not particularly doing as well, I would argue, that our focus has been very much on operational IT, not on the how we deliver the new digital world. So we will just be keeping track of our success in terms of the projects, the initiatives, the things that we are doing to deliver that. It's a bit of what we're going to be delivering as we go forward. The Civica side of it is going to be very straightforward for us to do a like-for-like comparison through managing the metrics. But the new side of it, the solution delivery, the digital and data solution side, that is largely going to be based on the feedback that we'll be seeking from individuals about how well they think we've delivered the technology.
Okay, thank you for that. I welcome the fact that you'll be looking at customer service and customer satisfaction, because I think that's quite critical. I think, speaking for myself, I don't know about the other members, sometimes the service from Civica, while it might be technically fine, working all right, but the service from them has been patchy in certain times. It's not always been there, and I think we kind of would welcome that. So I think that's a good move for doing that. I think we probably also need to look at where are we with technology. Technology moves on very quickly, and I feel sometimes that some of our IT solutions are a bit clunky and a bit probably outdated. So in terms of keeping up with the latest and making sure we are providing a good, efficient service, and you'll pick that up through the customer service satisfaction service, but I think that's something we need to kind of do, particularly if we're looking at 2040 and trying to be that local authority that we want to be. So thank you for that. I don't know if there's any more questions. Okay. Moving on to just refer members to page 12 and paragraph 2. We've got 2 recommendations there. I won't read them out. They're a bit lengthy and wordy. But basically, we're being asked to approve the creation of this new service and organisation and the transfer within 2P regulations. So are members happy for that?
You need to move it.
Do we need to move it?
No, just put it.
Yeah, no. So members, are we happy with that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So both of those recommendations have been passed. So if we move on to paper 8, I think it's back to you. Page 45.
Thank you, Chair. So I need to start this with an apology that the paper that was the job description that's attached to this paper has an error in it. If you read the previous paper and then look at the org chart in the organisation in the job description, you'll notice there's a difference, and that is unfortunately I was on leave at the time the papers were pulled together and dispatched, and a slightly not quite the latest version of the job description has been attached to this paper. The only difference is in terms of the organisational chart in the job description, which shows it should show an extra position of the performance and investment manager sitting underneath the service director. It's illustrated in the main organisation chart in the organisational change document. All I can do is apologise for that omission, and it will be corrected as we go live. But in essence, last year, when all of this process started, a role was brought through Admin and Regulation Committee to create a permanent position of Service Director for Information Technology. That had a very narrow scope around the operational requirements of technology. With this new organisational change, it's changed the shape of the director's role and their responsibility. So we need to address that and create a new director post that can be, with the additional responsibilities reflected in the Constitution. So the role covers the organisational change that we've just been through in terms of all of those responsibilities. It has been evaluated through a process at the next grade up from the previous role, so it's a Service Director 2 post because of the expanded responsibilities. Therefore, it is now a director role rather than a Service Director post in the terminology of the terminology that's used within the council. The job description is, as I say, in front of you with that error that I have mentioned. We've tried to write this job description in a way that draws out the strategic and innovative requirements of the role. What we believe that we're looking for to lead this is a sense of, and I think coming back to some of the comments that were just made against the previous item, we need to start moving our technology story forward. And so what we need is a director that's going to do that and is going to be passionate about doing that, and that's the individual that we want to bring in and recruit and be that technical advisor to members, to senior management, to build that trust and to really get you to a place where you've got absolute confidence, not just in the technology that we're delivering today, but our journey towards technology for tomorrow. So that's the post that we've created. My apologies again for that error in the organisation chart. The substance of the job description itself doesn't change. Happy to take any questions.
Members, do we have any questions? Keynes.
It's not really a question, it's a comment. I know how fast Luton are at employing people. You're on a very tight time limit here, aren't you? If you want somebody in by the 1st of September.
So we have been laying out the recruitment plan for this role, and it will not. This particular role will not be in place for the 1st of September. The permanent position, permanent person. So the process, we're going to council to get assuming that we get approval here this evening. We'll go to council on the 23rd of July to get the changes to the Constitution approved, and at that point we'll commence the recruitment process. At the moment, the timescale for that will run we're expecting it to run through September and October. So, and what we are to address the point that you've just made, Councillor, you are absolutely right. This is about finding the right person and not rushing the process just to get a backside on a seat. So, in the meantime, an interim arrangement will remain in place to see us through the period of transition and to take us through to a point where the permanent person is appointed. And yeah, it's hopefully that answers the question.
I've only got a comment on that. We have an awful lot of interim directors and officers in this council, and I'm not very happy with interim directors, but okay, in this case, I think, yeah, I'm with you. That was just mine.
Any more questions? Okay. I've got a couple I'd like to ask. I mean, how confident are we're going to fill this post? Because this is quite a critical post. This is a person that's going to lead this new IT service. Somebody who's, we would want somebody that's innovative, somebody who's really got a passion, really knows this stuff. So how confident are we that, given the grading we've got and what's available, whether we will be able to recruit somebody that we really need to drive this and really bring a culture change in the IT service?
I am confident personally that we will find someone. The salary doesn't. We have to be honest. It doesn't compare with London, but it's a salary that's at a level that does compare with equivalent unitaries and similar councils. So it will attract. It will be attractive to individuals who are sort of champing at the bit to step into a CIO, CDIO type role. So that's Chief Information Officer, Chief Digital Information Officer type role for, sorry to slip into the acronyms. Or alternatively, and what we shouldn't lose sight of is that there is another end of the spectrum who are interested in these kinds of roles, which are people who maybe worked in private sector and actually want to step into public sector and do some good at another stage of their career. So we will be seeking some external help in recruiting this role. So we're going to actively go out and try and find these individuals. But just from my experience of the market, I think we've got a good chance, as good a chance as we'll ever have of recruiting the right individual. The story here is really compelling as well. I don't think we should, the opportunity for someone to come in with a new team, a new challenge, it's almost like resetting the clock in many ways, which will be really appealing to individuals. The challenge here at Luton will be quite unique, I think, in the local government sector at this point in time. So, I think we've got a lot of things there that we won't be the biggest payers. We should never try and be the biggest payers. That doesn't always work well in your favour. I think we've got a solid opportunity here, and I think the level of salary that we've been able to achieve will be sufficient.
I was going to, a follow-up question to that is obviously, the panel that's going to be sitting there recruiting is, have we got the right expertise? Will we have the right expertise on that panel? Given that this is a service we're taking in-house, we haven't necessarily got that expertise within the council. What are we doing to make sure we've got the right expertise on the panel that's going to be recruiting this person?
So the process if we look at the process as a whole, we will be doing the usual long listing based on the candidates that come through, but then the expectation is that we will do a technical interview with them to assess whether they've actually got the technical credentials to do the job. I will be involved in that, and that will be a more technically focused team that are doing that part of it. We will, anyone that makes it through that filter will then go through the director interviews and the member panel interviews. Approach is to make sure that those are more, and I think it's really important that you're assessing the individual based on your confidence in them to deliver something that actually not a lot of members will be particularly well versed or skilled in. But if there's so what you should be getting is candidates coming with essentially a big tick in the box saying yes, they know what they're doing technically, they're capable of doing the role. The questions will be, are they the right fit for Luton? Are they going to be able to work along? And we should never lose sight of the fact that there's a really ambitious transformation program going on here in Luton. Hugely ambitious program around the 2040. You need someone who's going to be able to dovetail into that and support it. So that cultural fit is absolutely critically important. We'll take care of the technical stuff up front, make sure that they're technically competent, but the expectations that the panel will be selecting on cultural fit and whether they have the confidence that this individual is going to deliver on the bigger picture.
My only thing is that I think we may want to look at who's going to be on the panel. This post I see as absolutely being critical. This person is going to be the face of our IT service for the next few years. It's going to bring that cultural shift that we need. So I know you're inheriting quite a lot of 2P staff who have been used to working into a Civica culture. We want them to become buy into the Luton vision, have a more agile, more innovative and more user-focused service. So this person's going to be quite critical. And if we don't get this right, I'm just concerned, and that's why I'm asking if the panel can, if you can look at your recruitment plan and make sure we have the expertise, even if that means bringing somebody from outside who has worked in that field and worked at that level to have on your side guiding you, because it's not just about technical ability. This goes beyond. It's taking that technical ability and bringing it in the people, leadership, vision, and everything else. And I saw the personal qualities on here. That's quite a demanding fit where they need to be able to do a lot of things. So, and we just want to make sure that the person is the right individual. So, if you can bear that in mind, thank you. More questions?
Can I just back you up on what you've just been saying? You're going to have to bring in outside assistants and consultants, which will then increase the cost. Has this been budgeted for?
So it is included in the project. So this is all part of the project cost, which I should say is tracking well under budget at the moment. So what we're talking about, bringing the consultants in for, is a very small part of the process. So it is about the search part of it. So we will not be asking them to do any of the lengthy stuff around the interviewing or the anything like that. We're trying to contain that external cost to keep it absolutely minimal. But in terms of overall cost, the cost of that will be factored into will be coming out of the project budget, and there is definitely it will not cause any problem there. There's and again, just to set just to set that in context, the project budget is £1.6 million for the whole thing, which was approved in the original outline business case. We're currently forecasting that to come in at just under £1 million. So we're £700,000 under budget on the overall project at the moment, and I don't expect the cost of this executive search will significantly alter that.
Thank you. Any further questions?
I hope that's been minuted, because we don't want to come back here in about 6 months' time and we've got to find extra money.
Okay. I think it has been minuted. Okay. If we're moving on to refer members to page 45, we've got a number of recommendations there. I'm going to go through them one at a time. And the first one is approve the creation of a new post of Director, Digital Data and Technology, reporting to the Chief Executive, subject to the post being confirmed by the Executive in July. So our members happy with that? Yes. Yes, thank you. The next recommendation is to approve the deletion of the current post of Service Director, Information Technology, which is currently vacant, with duties being covered by the interim resource. So, again, are we happy with that recommendation?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, thank you. And then we're moving on to a couple of recommendations to the full council. The first one is to amend Appendix A to Part 2A of the Articles of the Council's Constitution for the inclusion of the new post of Director of Digital and Data. So are we happy with that, and including the deletion of the last post that we talked about?
Yes, Chair.
Yep. And then the last recommendation, instruct the monitoring officer to revise the Council's Constitution to give effect to those changes.
Yes, Chair.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. So we have a full agreement on all the recommendations there. Thank you very much. And we're now moving on to the last paper, which is our work programme. So over to members. Is there any items? Possibly. You can see we've got a busy September meeting with quite a number of reports there.
I was going to mention that. There seems an awful lot there for one meeting. We're going to be sitting here all night, aren't we?
So, I mean, we can certainly look at that. Was one of my observations, because when you look at we've got one on the 2nd of September, one on the 26th. So we can either.
I would, yeah.
I mean,
I would spread it over a
that's
bit.
2 meetings in the space of 3 weeks. We can either have 2 and move some there in the space of 3 weeks, or have one big long one. What do members want?
I think let's split it.
Let's split it. Are we happy to split?
Yeah.
So, Maria, so if I can, I mean, I don't know which of those items there are time sensitive.
Chair, I'll check with the officers, the report authors. Thank you.
If we can move them, and then if you look at further afield, I mean, October, November, I don't know if there's any items or articles that you know are coming in. Anything the members want? Do we want to, given what's happening with the IT thing, do we want to report back about how the recruitment's gone for IT and the 2P process?
I think I'm quite confident that we've got, someone capable who's able to find someone who's good. So I don't think. But it doesn't need to come back to committee. We can just get an email to confirm that. I'd rather not. I'm sure business will come in. That's always the case. Yeah. Business comes in, so I don't think you need to bring a report back.
I think let's put it as an optional, and if business comes in, we can obviously then go to an email report. But at the moment, I mean, beyond September, there doesn't seem to be a lot of, until we get into January where we've got real living wage, and there doesn't seem to be much on the programme. But I think things will pick up in the autumn, I would imagine.
They do, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and I think if we're happy with that, and then I think that's it, and I think that's the end of the meeting. We've got no Local Government Act 1972 private, no? Okay, thank you everybody, and have a good evening.
Thank you for the reports.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure.